In the digital age, technology is power, and no two nations embody this more than the US and China. But what happens when the race for technological supremacy turns into an all-out war? Today, we're diving into the high-stakes battle that's shaping the future of tech, the China tech sanctions war. From chip bans to TikTok restrictions and the showdown with Huawei, the tech world is in turmoil. But who's really pulling the strings in this digital Cold War? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. It all begins with chips. These little powerhouses are the brains behind everything from the smartphone in your pocket to the systems driving autonomous cars. But when the US blocked China's access to advanced semiconductor technology, the tech war hit a critical turning point. Why? Because the semiconductor characteristics are not just important for the latest gadgets, they're crucial for military tech, artificial intelligence, and even national security. Without access to the most advanced chips, China's ambition to lead the world in 5 grams, and quantum computing would be severely crippled. High-performance chips and The US has targeted China's access to some of the most advanced chips used in artificial intelligence, high-frequency trading, and defense systems. Take NVIDIA's A100 and H100 chips critical for training systems and running powerful machine learning algorithms. China had its sights set on becoming a global leader in but with these chips now off limits, that goal just became much harder to achieve. SMIC and the struggle for independence, China's largest chip maker, SMIC, now faces the monumental task of developing its own chips without access to the advanced manufacturing equipment made by companies like Applied Materials and Lam Research. This has put China's semiconductor ambitions into a chokehold, but it hasn't stopped them from trying to build an alternative.
What's next for China? They've heavily invested in building their own semiconductor infrastructure, but it's going to take years, if not decades, to catch up with the cutting-edge capabilities the US holds. Meanwhile, global supply chains are feeling the strain. Companies all over the world are scrambling to secure their own chip supplies while trying to avoid getting caught in the crossfire. This isn't just a trade war, it's a battle for control of the future. The world's biggest economies are now being forced to choose sides, and the US is making it clear. Access to these chips is a privilege, not a right. Next up, TikTok. The app that's taken over your social media feeds, one viral dance challenge at a time. But behind those catchy tunes and endless scrolling, there's a much darker side to the story. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is based in Beijing, and that's been raising red flags in the US. The US government has raised concerns that TikTok isn't just a fun entertainment platform, but a tool for data collection. With over 100 million users in the US alone, the worrying is that TikTok could be used by the Chinese government to collect sensitive data information about you, me, and millions of other American users. Data privacy and national security. What makes this issue so controversial is that data collected by TikTok could potentially be used for espionage or worse, to influence public opinion and sway political decisions. The US government says it's a national security threat, arguing that if the Chinese government demands it, TikTok could provide user data for surveillance purposes. It's not just about watching funny videos. TikTok has access to location data, contacts, and even keystrokes. Forced sale or ban. In response to these concerns, US lawmakers have demanded that ByteDance sell TikTok's US operations to an American company. Companies like Microsoft and Oracle have reportedly been in talks, but the clock is ticking. If ByteDance refuses to sell, TikTok could be banned in the US. But the plot thickens. ByteDance has denied any involvement from the Chinese government, asserting that TikTok operates independently. And here's the thing, TikTok's not just under fire in the US. Countries like India have already banned TikTok, and other nations are keeping a watchful eye. So, could this be the beginning of a global trend where TikTok becomes the first casualty in a world that's growing increasingly distrustful of Chinese tech? Now, let's talk about Huawei. When it comes to 5G, the next generation of mobile networks, Huawei is at the forefront. But for all its technological prowess, the company has been locked out of many countries' networks due to concerns over national security. The US government has led the charge against Huawei, claiming that the company's equipment could be used for espionage, a concern amplified by its ties to the Chinese government. But it's not just about security, it's about control. Control of the future of the internet, of communication, of global connectivity. Global 5G rollout and bans. Countries like the US, UK, Australia, and Canada have banned Huawei from participating in the construction of their 5G infrastructure. Why? They fear that Huawei's presence in 5G networks could give China an unfair advantage in collecting global intelligence. This has sparked a wave of action against Huawei worldwide, even though they continue to expand in non-Western markets, including Africa and Russia. Sanctions on chips and operating systems. The US didn't stop at blocking Huawei from 5G networks. It also targeted the company's ability to source chipset components needed for everything from smartphones to 5G routers. And Google, the US tech giant, stopped Huawei from using its Android OS, leaving the company to scramble to develop its own HarmonyOS. But here's where things get complicated. Despite these sanctions, Huawei is far from done. It's still a major player in the Chinese market and other parts of the world. It's developed its own technology and continues to innovate. But without access to the best chips and software, can Huawei maintain its position as a global leader in telecom? Or will it eventually be forced to bow to the pressure of a world that's increasingly aligning against it? And while all of this is happening, the tech world is facing something even bigger: decoupling. What does that mean? It means the world's two largest economies, the US and China, are creating separate tech ecosystems, one that's led by the US and the other by China. Countries are choosing sides. And that means companies, markets, and even governments must now decide: will they align with US-led standards, or will they embrace China's tech ecosystem? This tech war is shaping the future of global trade, international relations, and the way we all live our digital lives. The consequences are immense. Technology standards and global alliances. The world might split into two digital spheres, one based on US technology, the other on Chinese. This could affect everything from the apps we use to the networks that connect us. The implications for global businesses, consumers, and governments are staggering.
So, what's next? This battle isn't just about chips, TikTok, or Huawei, it's about the future. A future where technology shapes everything we do, and nations fight not just for economic dominance but for global influence. The US-China tech sanctions war is far from over, and what happens next will shape our digital future in ways we can't yet fully understand. Will China find a way to break through the US blockade? Will TikTok survive in the US? And can Huawei rise from the ashes of international sanctions? The stakes are high, the players are powerful, and the outcome? It could change the world as we know it. Stay tuned, because the battle for the digital future is only just beginning. What do you think? Will TikTok be banned? Can Huawei overcome the sanctions? Or is this just the beginning of an even bigger tech war? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more in-depth stories like this one.